I'm sure you've noticed the pencils are missing something important. What would that be? The eraser, yeah. You know, erasers really slow the creative flow. There's this tendency to want to constantly start over and just to focus in on the perfection of it. So instead, we do what's called rough sketching, which is really what it sounds like. We start everything off very rough, very sketchy, block in lines and shapes. And as we go along, we darken up the lines that work the best. That way, everything else just kind of gets pushed to the background. So have fun. That is the key thing here. Now, for Mickey, we're going to begin right in the center of our page, and we're going to sketch in a circle, I'd say about the size of an orange or a baseball. But again, just keep it light and use as many circles as you need. Just keep building one right on top of the other. With that basic shape in place, we're going to divide it with two lines. So we're going to have one that cuts down the middle. It's going to go up and down. And then our second one will go from side to side. So I get a great big plus sign. Just underneath where those lines cross, I'm going to add my second basic shape. And this is going to be an oval that's laying on its side. It kind of looks like a jelly bean. And notice I'm getting a little darker. We're getting into major features, so we're getting into things that should stand out. Should be a little more prominent. Any guesses what we've created there? Nose. The nose, yeah, absolutely. And noses always act as great anchor spots. You can build out from the center, kind of reference where everything goes. Now, on Mickey, the nose sits on a snout. It comes forward in space. So to show that, we're going to cap this off with a really shallow rainbow, creating what's called a snout line. Then the bottom part of the snout will also give us the first piece of his smile. Now this is going to be a great big letter U, and I'm going to give myself a couple of marks. This is going to stretch from one side to the other. Again, big letter U curve, pulling it all the way across. Now, like us, when he smiles really, really big, he gets the little creases in his cheeks. He gets these little smile lines here. So on each end, on those end points, I'm going to copy this sort of rainbow curve, and I'm going to shrink it down just a little bit. So that's the bottom of that cheek being pushed up. Usually when you see Mickey, whether out in a park or on a t-shirt, he rarely will have a small smile like that. This is a very optimistic, very happy character. So we like to maximize that happy look by posing him with this big open-mouthed smile. So I'm going to take a second letter U, and I'm going to attach it to the one that I just made. And this will break outside of the circle. You can stretch it down as far as you like. Make him look even more excited that way. But the thing is, since that mouth is open, his bottom lip is dropping down just a little bit. So that's going to be a third letter U, and it goes right underneath the one that you just made. Think of it like you're copying this curve right here, directly underneath. Now, are we noticing something missing inside the open mouth, the space there? The tongue, yeah, exactly right. It helps to define that. Otherwise, it looks a little weird with all that blank space there. So his tongue is just two hills, two mountains, and they're right next to each other. I'm going to start on the left side, and I'll stretch a mountain about halfway across. And then the second one, the rest of the way over. You can even add some shading in the background, so you get more of a sense of contrast there. But I would say all we have left for the bottom half of his face are the tops of the cheeks. And they're going to help us close things in, really put us at that halfway point. Now, what I do to figure out where the cheeks go is I hop back to my smile lines. So the little rainbow here, I'm going to go back to that. I'm going to move past it a little bit, and I'm going to plug in a letter C. You want to try to imagine that this is pushing this up. Those two pieces are moving together. Same thing here on the other side. So another C curve. And from there, take the ends of your letter C's and pull them right back down to the bottom left. So that'll close off this left-hand side. And this will close off the right-hand side. And believe it or not, you are halfway done. That is our midway point right there. So, are we starting to see a mouse on the page yet? I'll take your silence as no, not quite yet. Which is all right. It's just the bottom half. The next step is the biggie. We finally get to wake this guy up, get to plug in some eyes. Now, he's looking at us from behind the mouse snout. So we're going to go back to our snout line. We're going to go back to our rainbow here. And on top of that, really lightly to start, I'm going to sketch in a couple of tall ovals. Now, as I go back to darken, that's when I can adjust. So if one oval is looking taller than the other or too wide, this is the opportunity to fix that. And for a second here, you're going to notice that your Mickey looks a little scary, right? You got the Tower of Terror eyes here on your page. That's because we're missing the pupils. I would say that the pupils are the main detail to bringing a character to life. Now, we're going to use the same oval shape again. We're just going to shrink this down to about half the size. And put these anywhere you want. You can have him looking up or to the sides, googly eye, hearts in his eyes, whatever you want to do. I'm going to have him looking out toward all of you. So I'm going to place these in the bottom corners. I'd say, really, the main thing about pupils, whatever you do with them, is that you go back and you get them nice and dark. We always want an audience to focus in on the eyes first. If you can get them to look there, it helps to really establish emotion. The audience is noticing that expression a lot faster. So make sure that these are the points of highest contrast on your page. Then, with the eyes in place, we can close in the very top part of his head. Now, I'm going to move up a little bit. I'm going to go to the top center of my circle, where the line cuts through. So this point right here. And I'm going to start by placing a small letter V. We're going to take that letter V, and we're going to turn it into what looks like a great big heart, or like a great big letter M. And you can start on either side first. I'm going to begin on the left. I'm just going to take the end of this and I'm going to bend it. And I'm going to let it fall until it runs into the cheek. Same thing on the other side. I'll bend that and I'll let it fall. This heart-shaped frame we've created, this is what's called a mask. And you see this a lot on our classic characters. A mask has a couple of functions. First off, it works like eyebrows on a character like Mickey. You move that up and down. But also, it's designed to push darker areas away from the eyes. And that goes back to making sure an audience is able to see the eyes. Keeps them on that lighter background. While you're up there, go ahead and darken in the outside part of your circle. So I'm going to go over the left side and the right. Remember, you can adjust this too. If your circle is looking a little too wide, you can thin that out. Also going to close in the very top. So that brings us to our grand finale, because I think we might be missing two last things. What are they? Ears. Ears, yeah, exactly. Now we've got a super easy technique to figuring out right where these things go. What we do is we use our construction lines. Remember the two lines that divided the circle, the vertical and the horizontal? Go back to them, add a little mark about halfway in between, so a couple of 45-degree angles. Then, on those spots, we're going to sketch in a couple of circles that are about half the size of his head. So if you take your original circle and divide that in half, that's about what you want to shoot for. Again, this is a rough sketch, so don't worry about him being perfect here. I'm just very lightly going to place him. And then, like I did the eyes, as I go back to darken, if one's looking bigger than the other, then I can fix them at this point. Oh, and also, when you're all done with the ears, this is a great time to do what's called cleanup. If you want to go back into your drawing and maybe darken some lines, go over the pupils again. If something's smudging, you can fix that. A little touch up there. But that is pretty much it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as artists, don't forget maybe the most important mark of all, the signature. Find a spot and autograph that. Because you have created a soon-to-be 84-year-old character, your very own Mickey Mouse. So how'd we do? How'd they turn out? Did we have fun?
Yeah.
We did have fun. All right. Well, this is my favorite part of the class. This is where I get to see what you've created up there. So on the count of 3, let's hold them up. Let's take a look around. Let's have a little bit of an art show. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Mickey! Let's see some nice out here. Let's see how we did. Wow, very nice. Oh my goodness, I love it. Got the googly eyes.